A chair appeared in the kitchen. The chair has 2 legs. I'm sure of it. It has to. I count them several times a day. 1, 2, and it ends there. There are 2 legs on this chair. 2, I'm sure. Yet, how can there be 2 legs? How would a chair stand on 2 legs? How does it work? 1 leg on each of the back corners. Yet it still stands. How are there 2 legs? How? But there it is. I count them again. 1, 2. I'm not sure when it first appeared, but it's been in the kitchen for weeks now. I don't dare sit in it. I'm not sure how it would hold me. I don't want to end up like the cat. I found the cat one day, dead. Its body twisted and broken under the chair. It looked like it had been crushed, its fur matted with blood. I wanted to move the chair to see if there was anything I could do, but I do not want to touch this thing. The chair is alive. I'm sure of it. I sound crazy. I know I do. But it's waiting for me to sit in it, so it can kill me like it killed the cat. But I'm not going to give it the satisfaction. I'll never sit in that chair. 2 days ago, 2 agents knocked on my door. They were investigating something, but they wouldn't tell me what. They wouldn't even show me their badges. How was I meant to know who they were? I turned them away, but they came in anyway. As soon as they saw the chair, one of them called someone, and the other spoke to me. He told me they were going to sort everything out and that I shouldn't panic. I could hear the man on the phone, briefly. He mentioned something about dimensions. A scream came from my kitchen, followed by the sound of liquid spilling. We ran in, and on the floor, under the chair, was a puddle of blood and the remnants of human organs. A hand was left on the floor. It's etched into my brain and I can never unsee it. The chair has 2 legs. I counted them. 1, 2. The other agent knelt down to get a closer look. He seemed unfazed. He accidentally touched the chair slightly. It had 2 legs. Then 1. Then 0. I'm not talking about the chair anymore. This man began to disappear in front of me, his body contorting and morphing as blood and organs spilt from him. By the time it was over, much of what had fallen out of him had also disappeared. For a brief moment in the chaos, a brief moment, I counted 3 legs on the chair. It had changed. I don't know why, because I have counted the legs every moment since, and it's only ever 2. 1, 2. 2 legs. Only 2. Why were there 3? 3 is not the same as 2. 3 and 2 are very different, and I do not understand. It's only a difference of 1, but it's also a difference of everything. How were there 3? I woke up this morning and one of the men's heads had appeared on the floor, along with the phone the man was using. I picked up the phone. It still worked. It was covered in blood. The chair still had 2 legs. I called the most recent caller. Someone answered. They thought my name was Jason. My name is not Jason.
Jason?
They said. I didn't pay much attention, as I had decided to count the legs of the chair again.
Jason, was it the chair? Where have you been?
The chair still had 2 legs, but not the same 2 legs. It was both of the back ones, but now it was one at the back and the opposite front leg.
Jason? Hello? The readings say the chair is still moving through the fourth dimension. We need to find it. Did you find it?
My chair has 2 legs. And it's driving me insane. Let me get it out there. I'm one of those nerds and geeks that spend most of their time sitting in front of their computer, watching YouTube, playing games on Steam, and reading creepypastas. It's a problem. I know. I don't need you guys to judge me. Heck, you're all probably in the same position as me. Except for one thing. It was a late Friday night. I had no school tomorrow, so I didn't have to worry about getting up early. I was on the internet. Big surprise. Browsing through some random sites when an ad caught my eye. It was one of those pop-ups that say you have won something. Usually, the prize is an iPhone or an iPad. But this ad was different. Congratulations. You have won me. Me? What does that mean? Normally, I would have ignored it and moved on, but I felt drawn to this weird little ad. I clicked on it out of curiosity. The ad opened up a new tab, showing a chat room floating on a black background, flickering every once in a while. A single message sat there, glowing in the darkness of my room.
Hello, my friend.
Without even thinking, I started to reply. Who are you?
A friend.
Do you have a name?
Anonymous.
That's not a name.
Yes, it is. What is your name?
I'm not telling you my name.
Tell me.
The sudden outburst scared me a little. I should have left the chat, but something wouldn't let me. I continued to talk to this mysterious figure. I'm not telling you my name.
I want to be your friend. I can't be your friend if I don't know your name.
I don't even know who you are. Why do you want to be my friend so badly?
Because you won me.
How?
You clicked on the link. You set me free. I will find you, and thank you.
At this point, I had goosebumps all over my arms. I wanted to leave my computer, but I was stuck there, unable to move my body. My fingers were typing without my consent, sending message after message. You don't know where I live.
I have already found you. I'm coming over for a visit.
Stop lying. We both know you have no idea where I am.
Silly child, I'm already here.
Suddenly, I felt a presence in my room. I tried to turn my head, but my body wouldn't let me. I heard heavy footsteps behind me, getting louder and louder as they neared my desk. A cold, bony hand wrapped around my shoulder, their long nails digging into my skin. They leaned over, placing their head near mine, and whispered into my ear,
Thank you, my friend. Let me reward you for your good deed.
I started to feel dizzy as their psychotic laughter penetrated my skull. Before I could realize what was happening, everything went black. I woke up in a dark room with a computer providing my only light source. My head felt terrible, like something inside was hammering at my skull. I tried to get up, but my body was still stuck. My eyes slowly adjusted to the light, and I started to make out what was on my screen. I could see what looked like me in my room. Closing my computer and getting up from my desk, I watched as this doppelganger examined my body, pulling at my skin and brushing my hand through my hair. When it looked up to face me, I gasped in fear. My eyes were now a bright yellow with cat-like pupils. Those eyes stared back at me through the computer screen, piercing into my very soul. I tried to run away, but my body just wouldn't allow it. My replacement smiled back at me, their grin sending shivers down my spine. The screen switched back to the chat room, with one single message staring back at me.
Goodbye, my friend.
Years have passed since this ordeal happened. I have tried to get up and leave this godforsaken computer, but I am only able to move my arms and my hands. I still have access to the internet from here, but I've been unable to contact my family or friends. The only people I talk to these days are random strangers I meet on one of the many sites I go on. Even then, I can't seem to type out the words I need to express. My fingers won't allow me to send a distress signal, always changing the message I try to convey. I'm writing my story down, hoping someone will see this and know what to do. I'm using all of my strength to stop myself from deleting all of this. Someone or something doesn't want me to escape. Please, if anyone hears this, send help.
Please, be my friend.
I have always been uneasy driving alone at night. It was worse the first few times, when I had just gotten my license, but the nagging fear has never gone away to this day. It's disorienting to look into the mirrors and see nothing, and I mean nothing, but the consuming blackness of the night. It makes me hesitant to check the mirrors, should I see this dark void. Or worse, someone sitting in my back seat staring at me. In the summer of 2013, I found myself driving home alone on Highway 902 from a party. It was almost midnight, and needless to say, it was pitch black. As was usual at night, I was on edge. I had the radio off, and could hear nothing but the muffled roar of tires on pavement and the dull hum of the engine. I stole a glance into the middle rearview mirror, and saw nothing but darkness through the back window. I know that I looked backward and saw nothing. I'm sure of it. Just the seemingly endless blackness of the night. I remember it so clearly because not 10 seconds later a car passed me to the left, headlights on. I had one of those sudden adrenaline rushes like when you think you see a person outside your bedroom window when it's just a tree, or when you start awake at night with the feeling of falling. 10 seconds earlier, nothing had been behind me. Suddenly, a car. I drove all the way home shivering and knowing something was off. The next morning, I found 2 sets of scratches near the back of my van. One was on the left rear, one was on the right. The car was pretty old. They could have been there for months. But that was the first time I distinctly remember seeing them. In hindsight, there are 2 possibilities for what happened that night. Possibility 1, by some glitch in reality or something paranormal. This other car had somehow appeared behind me within 10 seconds of me checking my mirror, like some weird ghost crap or something. However, the second option is what makes my blood run cold whenever I consider it. It didn't even occur to me until months after the fact, but it makes me dread driving alone at night even more. Possibility 2. The car was normal. It had approached me from the rear and passed me to my left. However, something large and wide and as black as the night had been clinging to the rear of my car, obscuring my view through the window, and leaving deep scratches on the sides. And I had inadvertently driven it home with me. I'm a bit of a penny pincher. I try to stick to the bare essentials when grocery shopping, and I spend most of my free time earning money in other ways. I sell things, look for odd jobs on Craigslist, and take surveys online. It's more than likely due to these surveys that I even received a mystery package in the mail. Allow me to explain. I take countless surveys online that range from questions about my shopping experiences to very intrusive personal queries. After roughly 30 surveys or so, most sites will send you some money, anywhere from $1 to $5. I mostly get $2 bills. It's tedious work, but if you have nothing else to do, why not make some extra cash? And like I said, I'm a penny pincher. It's not that I'm greedy or anything. I just feel more comfortable knowing that I have a good chunk of money to fall back on in case of an emergency. Now, because of these surveys, I've typed my address into a lot of websites. As such, I receive an overwhelming amount of junk mail. I don't mind all that much. Between the money from the surveys and never needing firewood in the winter, it's worth it. One day, however, I received a package. The package was wrapped in leather, something I'd never seen come through the mail before. Embossed in the upper left corner was a rather impressive logo. It seemed that the mystery package was from a company called Syntheticorp. Initially, I thought there was some sort of mix-up at the post office, but my name and address were right there on the package, embossed, just like the logo. I asked my wife what she thought of it, but she offered no insight. After seeing it, she grew excited and tried pressuring me into opening it. In her defense, the thing did look important, I guess. Like whatever was inside was at the very least expensive. After fending off my curious wife and mulling it over for a few moments, I decided it would be best not to open it just yet. I assumed that this Syntheticorp accessed my home address in the same manner that all of those other junk mail companies did. After all, I did give my address away to various outlets, daily. Perhaps the package was a more elaborate form of the usual scams that made their way into my mailbox. It was more than likely harmless. However, normal junk mail is one thing. Packages are another. I chose to do a little research before tearing it open. In Googling Syntheticorp, I found that there were multiple agencies using the moniker. None of them seemed like scam manufacturers, but then again, they never do. I decided to call each of them and ask about the package. A few phone calls later, and I was back at square one. None of the Syntheticorps I called were the one that sent me the mystery box. One of the guys who answered the phone even seemed angry that I was calling, as if the number should not have been widely available. In any case, I was still dumbfounded by the package. I so badly felt the need to open it, but I wanted to also feel safe doing so. For all I knew, it could have been a bomb. Not likely, but not completely out of the realm of possibility, especially in this day and age. I spent the next couple of hours on Google, looking for the company that sent me this damned thing. I needed anything that would put my mind at ease, just enough to cross that threshold, allowing me to open it and reveal its contents. After scouring thousands of results, I found something. There was one complaint on one review site for a company called Corp. I scrolled down to the comment in question, and this is all it said.
Don't open it.
A few days have passed since doing my makeshift research on the package. After reading the alleged complaint from the random review site I visited, I was more than a bit hesitant to open the thing up. In fact, I almost put it out with the garbage. Out of sight, out of mind, as the old saying goes. The only thing that kept me from doing this was my curiosity. Because of this, I left it in my car. I tried one more time to forget about it, but this was not a simple task. I kept wondering about what might be waiting for me inside the package. An invitation to a secret society, a priceless oddity passed from stranger to stranger, or some other type of treasure. I couldn't help but fantasize about it. I did this so much that opening it became an inevitable conclusion. Noticing that my car hadn't exploded yet, and thinking a little more clearly about the situation, I decided that taking a peek inside the package would be a harmless venture. After all, the complaint I'd seen could have been about any one of the dozens of Corps out there, or, more likely, it was a fake review. Either way, it was nothing more than an eerie coincidence. At least, that's what I told myself in an effort to justify my desires. My curiosity demanded placation. On the day in question, I arrived home from work and brought the leather-bound box inside. I placed it on the kitchen table and stared at it. I had told my wife about my plans to open it, and she demanded that I wait for her to get home before doing so. I told her that I might. Truth be told, I couldn't. I needed to solve the mystery, if only to satisfy my hunger for answers. I grabbed the damn thing and attempted to rip it apart. The leather was tightly bound, but with some brute force and a little bit of sweat, I was able to penetrate some of the hide. I fought with it for a few more moments, tearing off pieces at a time. That's when my wife walked in.
I knew you wouldn't wait for me, you impatient bastard,
she exclaimed. You know I can't wait for anything. You think you could give me a hand over here? She scoffed at me, but rushed over to help, just as curious as I was. It took us nearly half an hour, but we managed to get most of the leather off. Beneath it was a small wooden chest. Excited, my wife jumped the gun and attempted to open it. Her actions were futile, as it seemed to be locked. It looked like we were back at square one, but I noticed something etched into the wood. Below a keyhole, it said, "House key." My wife and I looked at each other in confusion. I thought about it for a moment and hesitantly reached for my keys. I looked over at my wife and we chuckled, but it quickly turned into a nervous laugh. And then silence. I tried the key, and to our utter disbelief, the lock popped open. There was only one thing left to do. I opened the box up and looked inside. My wife and I stared, equally dumbfounded by the reveal. I could neither surmise its meaning, nor did I know what to do next. It was baffling. Inside the box was a live rabbit. A live freaking rabbit! Next to the rabbit was a scrap of paper. I picked it up and read it.
Do not read aloud, or you will suffer the consequences. You have 1 minute to act. Go to the kitchen and grab a large knife. Proceed to kill the rabbit, or your wife will die. That is a promise. Do not tell her about this note. Burn it after completing the task. The clock is ticking.
Below the text was a picture of my wife, sleeping in bed. I had never seen that picture before. Without hesitation, I ran to the kitchen, grabbed the largest knife I could find, and hurried back over to the rabbit. I stabbed it multiple times until I knew it was dead. I expected my wife to scream, but she didn't. Instead, she asked a question.
What are you doing?
I looked over at her, apologetically. I can't tell you. Please, just trust me. We'll have to bury it in the yard.
Bury what in the yard?
She asked, sounding a bit confused. The rabbit, I said.
What rabbit?
She asked. The one right here. I gestured towards the bloody carcass in the box. My wife shot me the weirdest look before speaking again.
Hun, the box is empty.
I slowly handed my wife the scrap of paper. She looked down at it, then back up at me.
There's nothing on it. It's blank. Hun, are you okay?
All of the sudden, I felt dizzy. I looked at the paper in my wife's hand, and it was indeed void of any writing. I then looked over at the box. The rabbit was gone. A knot formed in the pit of my stomach as my legs gave out. Light-headed and confused beyond all measure, my body hit the kitchen floor with a loud thud, and I involuntarily shut my eyes. I passed out within an instant. I awoke in the comfort of my bed, feeling groggy and sore. My wife was sitting beside me with a troubled expression on her face. She was more than likely worried, both for my physical and mental health.
Oh, thank God. Are you all right?
She asked. I'll be fine. How long was I out?
About 20 minutes. I was about to call 911. What the hell happened?
She asked. I changed the subject from my untimely descent to the box. I asked her if she truly saw nothing, in which she replied,
No, nothing at all.
We discussed it a little further, and while she agreed that my house key opening the box was weird, she figured that the package was some sort of misguided prank. She said she'd call the post office for more information. While conversing about the package, I was able to convince my wife that my strange actions and fall were both due to exhaustion, having overexerted myself at work. I conveniently left out the details on the note. I didn't want her thinking I was a lunatic, suffering from hallucinations, even if I was. She seemed to buy my story, and that was that. Until the following day. After a much-needed good night's rest, I woke up the next day feeling refreshed and ready to take on the world. I recalled what happened the night previous, but I decided it would be best not to dwell on uncertainties. My best course of action, I thought, would be to forget the whole thing ever happened. I was a sane individual, after all. The events that transpired the night before truly were a product of being overtired. Yes, that explanation sat well with me. While driving to work with a newfound sense of well-being, the illusion of sanity I clung to shattered abruptly. I adjusted my mirror at a red light and noticed something lying in my back seat. It was the rabbit, dead as could be, staining my upholstery with its pungent blood. I jumped and looked back at the seat. There was nothing there. A horn blared from behind me, causing me to jump a second time. The light had turned green, and I was holding up traffic. I quickly adjusted myself and drove forward, trying to gather my wits as I did. Unfortunately for me, it wouldn't be that simple. I kept looking at my mirror, thinking I'd seen the rabbit again, but I didn't. I managed to calm myself down and convince myself once again that I was sane and it was just a trick of the eyes. And the dozens of dead rabbits on the side of the road that I passed on my way to work, that was just a coincidence. Surely, I wasn't crazy. I arrived at work a bit frazzled and made my way inside. The place was oddly vacant for a Saturday, but I ignored this and walked over to my office. The lack of life made sense when I opened the door. Surprise! All of my co-workers had piled into my office for some sort of celebration. They all wore festive hats and had party horns in hand. Clapping ensued as I entered the room. Before I could ask what it was all for, my boss walked over to me.
Happy 5 years at the company. You've done great things here, and we all wanted you to know how much we appreciated the work you do. Take some time to kick back and relax. You've earned it.
I heard a bottle of champagne pop in the corner of the room. Still on edge from the ride over, I jumped. Everyone laughed. My boss's laugh was the loudest and most comical, which caused everyone else to laugh even harder. That's when I joined in. For a few moments, my worries vanished. I forgot all about the stupid package and the weird ride to work. It was nice. But nice things don't last. Once the laughter stopped, my boss put his hand on my shoulder and spoke again.
By the way, we got something for you. Hope you like it.
He walked me over to my desk, and everyone stepped away to reveal my gift.
Well, what do you think?
There, lying on my desk, was a dead rabbit.